of two very handsome men by swan diving into their $50,000 cake.
How did I fart? Why?
Who tells the best poop jokes around right now? We us two.
My name is Dave Jabroni. That's why that name means loser around the world now.
Live from my grandmother's basement. We are the podcast and now live Twitch stream that talks about the upcoming hosts of Chris Gethard Presents in New York City. And today we are talking about the extremely highly anticipated episode. We had how many lead ups did we have to this individual? We got a taste of her in Rejection Hour.
Yes, in Rejection Hour, or Rejection, a talk show, and as Eloise on New York Christie.
That's when we got an even bigger bite, the bite that told me, like, holy shit, who is this chick? And we also got a really special introduction to her because we were watching the movie. The week of. The Adam Sandler movie, The Week of, to look for Rachel Pegram, who has, like, 2 lines in it. That was our light.
Goodbye, light.
We were watching her and we're like, wow, this movie's kind of mediocre, except for that best friend character.
Yeah.
She's like really good. Like, who is that person and where did they find her? Guess who it fucking was? Katie goddamn Hartman. Like, so good that we weren't even looking for her and we're like, yeah, she was the good part. So fucking give it a watch. Like, watch like her parts and then leave it on your Netflix so that Netflix thinks that everyone loves her.
Yeah, and that's why I wish there were still the written reviews so we could just go and be like, hey, Netflix, Rachel Pegram and Katie Hartman are amazing.
Hire them.
Hire them for more things.
Make more things them thank you. Yes. Give
Make
money.
More things them thank you.
Yes. Yes.
That audio wasn't supposed to play back.
Did everyone hear it? Did everyone hear a beautiful discordant voice?
No.
Well, your beautiful discordant voice. No, that was just us. Okay, so that was just us. So welcome to Figuring Shit Out Hour. I hope that this inspires all of you to do your own streams. Honestly, that's my goal here.
That would be wonderful. I want to see everyone's individual streams. And if you're listening to this recorded, hey, thank you.
Hi. Thank you for bearing with us. We apologize for all of the visual, in the moment specific banter that's happening. Or you know what? I don't apologize. I will not apologize. I am following Chris Gethard's commandment to never apologize for the thing that you are doing creatively. Apologize for things that you do mean to other people.
Oh, yeah. Don't be a bad person. But like, you know what? If you're trying and you're making content that you care about, that's all that matters.
You like. That's what matters. And you know who makes content that they like?
Is it Katie Hartman and Jon Bander?
It's Katie Hartman and Jon Bander. They are going to be episode 405, Cruise Ship Morgue, which will be airing on March 4th, 2020. The episode that will take place in a morgue on a cruise ship.
And the cast, as we know it so far, is Katie Hartman and Jon Bander. As you mentioned, Katie was in The Week of and previously appeared as herself on Rejection, a talk show, and as Eloise in New York Christie. She also appeared on 2 episodes of the special without Brett Davis, Assassin's Bluff Part 2.
She makes out with Steve Buscemi in The Week of.
Oh, she does? No. Yeah.
Right. No, I think it happens.
You're right. No.
Because she was talking about it on a podcast.
Well, then it happens.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I'm pretty sure it's Steve Buscemi. I have a bad memory with like celebrity names and faces. So I'm not sure.
It is Steve Buscemi because he plays the sad best friend to Adam Sandler.
She makes out with him.
No, sad brother.
And I think that by Hollywood standards, oh shit. I just realized that I can see people commenting as we are doing these things. Hi, Eric. It's so nice to hear from you. And I'm so excited with the idea that you might have also heard Katie Hartman podcasty things.
Well, I think that Eric Sherm said that if it happens on a podcast is true. And they learned that rule on a podcast. Oh. Not necessarily that they heard that specific thing.
Hi, Meow. Oh, this is like ridiculously exciting for me. Yeah. I once again would like to explain this experience to people who are listening fucking on Wednesday when this is played back again.
Oh, yeah. You could be listening right now on K-Scum, and I'll say hello to you again as well if it's K-Scum time.
Yes.
But in text form.
In text form. But yeah, let's talk about fucking Katie Hartman and Jon Bander. Yeah, she was on 2 episodes of the special, and we have Jon Bander. He's new to the Gethverse.
He's tied to UCB.
Yeah, he was on basically most of his online presence, and he mentions this in a video, which makes me feel better that he doesn't have a big online presence because he does so many live shows. He is on a team called Characters Welcome at UCB.
I always think of the USA Network with it, and I love it.
Every time I say it, I think I'm saying something incorrect because I'm like, no, that can't be right. And he's also does musical improv every week. So if you're in New York, check out his musical improv. I'm so into musical improv, and oh my God. So this is going to be really interesting for a lot of reasons. We were able to pick up a lot of interesting qualities in their performances.
Yeah, like one is that we noticed that Katie often plays high status characters, and then Jon often plays low status, sort of self-deprecating characters, and you'll see that as we go through his stuff in the second part of the show. But it's really interesting, and I think that that's part of why their dynamic, I think, will work really well.
And it sounds like so on this Twitch stream. Previously, they played both of Christie's episodes that
3.
Katie appeared in. 3.
Oh, no, both that she appeared in, but all 3 of Christie's episodes. My bad.
All 3 of Christie's episodes. And she was in the chat with us. And I asked her about developing, like, you know, how it is developing something for a half live, half, you know, broadcast show, which is the CGP. Like, there's people in the audience, but also it's being broadcast. And she leaked to us that they had actually written Cruise Ship Morgue as they were trying to sell it as a web series.
I think that's super interesting.
I think it got bought by a company. I think she says that it got bought by a company that now does not exist anymore.
Yeah, I think that's what she said while you were reading that out.
I have an idea of what company it might be.
Yes,
but it's okay. We can't have nice things, and we just have to accept that.
But it's also interesting that we're going to get 2 episodes of CGP in a row that are based on things not initially written to be a live show, because next week's Reveries is based on a comedy, like visual music album that, or I don't know about music, but it's based on an existing video by the hosts next week.
Who are the hosts next week?
Yeah, I have to scroll down. That's my bad. I've been so living in Hartman and Bander world. And I was like, I'm not going to vamp to cover it. I'm just going to be honest.
And friends, I got to be real. So I was very sick this week. If you were here with us on the after show, you know how fucking sick I was. I had no idea what was going on.
It's Matt Baratz and Anthony Oberbeck, who were also...
Anthony Oberbeck?
Yeah, who were the 2 guys at the end of Carmen's first episode who confronted him for leaving the Midwest and becoming a big-time Hollywood freak.
Oh, sick.
In New York.
Sick. But yeah, I was really ill. And so I sat my ass down and was like, I need to watch some Katie Hartman videos. And there is a playlist on YouTube with 72 videos in it, all of which have Katie Hartman in it, except for I think the first one, which she might have like written on or something. And I watched all 72 of those videos, just sitting, being sick, drinking tea. And I would highly recommend doing so. I want to recommend this to anyone. It will cure your illness. If you get coronavirus, just watch these videos. This is the vaccine we've been looking for.
I mean, laughter is the best medicine, so I guess it's not that much of a surprise. There is also a slight part of me that's just like, come on, get it.
Yeah.
Watch comedy. Get coronavirus so you can watch comedy. Do it.
Do it.
I don't want it.
Do it. No.
It's apparently very scary.
So we have 7 things that Katie Hartman has done.
We have like 5 things, but they each contain
like
multitudes.
A lot of things.
So it adds up to like a lot. This was one of those weeks where it was just really hard to pare anything down because she's done so much.
Yeah.
And it's varied. Like it's a lot of varied things that show different sides of her and how she can, how versatile she is as a performer.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to cut it because if you cut too much,
you don't get a good idea.
You don't necessarily get a good idea. CGP MNN wants everyone to know that they would love if everyone washed their hands and didn't get sick. And I also don't want anyone to get sick. And wash your hands. Apparently, happy birthday. Sing it twice. that's how long you should be lathering your hands with soap.
Yes.
I want to find a part of a CGP song that's 20 seconds so I can use that.
I think that is the best use of your time.
Absolutely.
So we have 7 things from Katie Hartman that we loved. I would also definitely recommend just Googling podcasts with her on it. She had one with Across the Margin with someone that she is on whose name I forget because I'm a bad person.
I didn't listen to that one, so I don't know.
No, it was
either.
really good. God Ween Eric God loves Ween. Evan loves God Ween.
No, it was.
So she has this podcast where she and her buddy are trying to convince their friend Eric that Ween is a good band. And I listened to like 4 episodes of this, and Ween sounds like an awesome fucking band.
God Ween Evan.
God Weed
Ween.
Ween Evan. God Ween Evan.
I love that. That was a great little slip there.
God Weed Evan.
That's how you know we're in California.
Well, listen to that Across the Margins episode because they go really in deep to her creative process and how she came up as a performer. There's also a podcast series, Women of Size, that has like less good audio. I had to pump it up a lot on her end. But it was really interesting because they were talking about auditioning in New York and creating roles for oneself.
Well, it's interesting because that also came up in Rejection, a talk show.
Mm-hmm.
So that I can see how that would be.
And so the
difficult.
first thing we want to talk about relates to that. It's called Made to Order. This is a web series written by Katie Hartman and Leah Rudick. Leah Rudick was her comedy partner for a very long time. They met in college. They met freshman year of college.
Wow.
Right?
I love when you get to see creative partnerships that go back that far.
Fucking right. And so they worked together for all this time and they started writing their own stuff. At first, she was like, no, I'll just audition. I'll just do things. And then was really disappointed in the roles that are available. And had been told by someone or got this that like you really have write the roles that you want, write the characters that you want. And she has such a specific type of like rude, crude, absurdist comedy. No one's writing that kind of shit for ladies.
I mean, yeah.
No one's writing that kind of shit for dudes.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is you don't see it often anyway. And so then you have the extra layer of all of Hollywood and not Hollywood specifically, but entertainment overall's issues with giving women good roles.
Yeah.
So it gets even harder.
This show, it was shot and edited by Adam Wirtz. And the premise is that Katie lost her job. Leah never had one. 2 sisters dive into the gritty world of underground food delivery service. Watch them drown.
Watching them drown, it turns out to be a lot more fun than you might expect.
Yeah, so like the idea is that someone wants to order food, but they want to feel cool like they're buying drugs. So they do like drug deal style food drop-offs to make their clients feel cool. And
it's shot like mob movies. Like the way everything is treated is as if it's like a Scorsese gang warfare type of thing.
We watched together. I watched the whole thing and it's fucking incredible. Watch the whole thing. We watched episode 6 together where Katie and Leah get hassled by a rival food delivery service. It's called Food Fight. And the rival food delivery service is a woman who looks a lot like
Annie Donnelly.
Yeah.
But
is not Annie Donnelly.
It's not, but we both independently thought that was Annie Donnelly.
Like an older man whose name I also forget, and a child.
Well, the actor is a child.
They said that he has the Benjamin Button disease.
And it's great because like they shoot it as if you're seeing this like
these people get
gunfight,
shot down.
But it's just like throwing lettuce and all that. And I love that series. And it got a lot of great press as well.
Oh,
It got written up by all sorts of sources and it absolutely deserved it. It was highlighted by Marie Claire, IndieWire, and like other places of that level.
It was about 9 years ago, right?
Yeah.
That this was shot. They only made the first series. It ended on a cliffhanger. It ended on a beautiful cliffhanger. And something I really like about the last episode is you get to see Katie interacting with her like boyfriend character.
So it was actually 2015. So
2015.
More recent than 9 years ago.
Their dialogue, the way that they interacted together, like this cute couple that was like just getting to the point where he might like leave his deodorant at her place.
Yeah.
It was really heartwarming. I was just really enjoying watching that interaction, and then it turns crazy absurd. It's also shot perfectly.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous. It looks great. It's definitely check it out. It's a wonderful show, and it's cool seeing Katie in that format. But it's also cool seeing her in our second thing, which is all of her work for Seriously.tv.
They hired her for 2 years. That was her steady day job. It's a comedy website that, of course, died because that's what happens to comedy websites. I think Hacked is one of them. Fucking
Hatched. Which
Thank
was
you.
Which is where CEO Skyscraper came out.
What's the one that Connor Ratliff was on, and then he was really sad because no one bought it? Stitcher?
Oh, CISO?
CISO!
Yeah, CISO was NBC's comedy streaming service.
CISO. Yeah, no. People do comedy things, and then the comedy things, the companies die. And then...
I don't know what CGP told us not to say. The delay's notable.
Well...
But we said it if so. So, I think it was about comedy websites dying.
Yeah, I mean, look, CGP is not a comedy website.
No.
That's the beauty of it is outside of the capitalist system.
Well, see, CGP is a comedy venue. You know, it's like the cool venue where you get to see all this comedy, and then online we get to hang out in the back alley behind the club after the show. So it's a whole different thing.
And you know what's crazy? There is a station called Mutiny Radio in San Francisco that literally 2 weeks ago started putting YouTube videos up, like got themselves a YouTube channel. And they're absolutely aiming to like start streaming their stand-up. They do showcases. They do extremely long showcases. It's like an open mic. It's a room for people to figure shit out and like be first timers and stuff. So it's catching on, friends. Like this might be the new face of comedy, and we are right here at the beginning. Watching Katie Hartman, who was on Seriously TV, who paid her for 2 years, and for that, we are grateful.
And it's cool. One of the cool things about Seriously.tv's, or the work that she did for them at the very least, is a lot of it is topical.
Political.
A lot of it ties in. It's political. It ties in with the news and politics. And like one of them is about the GOP's new, even worse healthcare solution, which is JED, just erectile dysfunction. That's all it covers is just erectile dysfunction, which I'm, you know.
We got to get some quotes from that. She talks about one's turgid cock.
Yeah. And then about how that's the only medical issue a man cares about. And what I love about it also is the way it is shot. Thank you, Miel. Miel said that she loves Emily and I'm cute, which thank you. But Katie says that, and it's shot like one of those ED ads.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if there's actually a tire swing where they throw a football through it, but it's that vibe.
Yeah, like straight up like slow-mo shots. They had excellent fucking production.
It's also Life is Hard. Should I leave New York City?
So Life is Hard is a whole series that she did where the idea is that she's like in a room. It's like a black box with a couple of dudes, like mannequins. And she is deciding on a question. And she has someone who is there arguing one side and someone there arguing the other side. And they each present their sides, and it's pretty absurdist. So for Should I Leave New York City, for example, either she is going to leave New York City immediately by peeing literally on two fans of different sports teams that hate each other.
I think it was a Mets cap and a Yankee hat in front of those fans.
Yeah, so that everyone will hate her and she'll have to leave.
And they're fighting backstage, and it periodically cuts to the fans tussling.
They do that thing with their hands. I'm doing it right now in the Twitch thing, and Forrest is not participating. He's refusing to commit to the bit. Okay, so and if she chooses to stay in New York, there is a mad scientist there who will turn her into a pigeon.
And one thing that we noted is that the description of New York really reminded us of San Francisco, partially because they referenced piles of poop.
And also glitter and water, which is like beautiful, but it looks like trash also sometimes, which is Very San Francisco. And it was cool because I feel like seeing her on the New York City episode of Katie's show makes me want more of them talking about New York.
No, me too. And it's just cool seeing her do an interview because we've only seen her we've seen her be interviewed by Christy and then play Eloise, but seeing her as the interviewer was something new and interesting.
And she's never far from her like manic absurdity.
Yes.
Like Mary Houlihan is whimsical absurdity. Like you listen to her and you're like, a unicorn might just spring out of the ground and like fly away with her on these beautiful like iridescent wings. Katie Hartman's like, a giant cartoon is going to come to life, but it is still going to look like a cartoon and it's going to scream at you like Doodle Bob and SpongeBob. Okay, you did not see this.
I'm too old to know what Doodle Bob is.
He drew a picture of himself and it just screams at them and runs around with the eraser to like draw things. That is the energy that Katie brings to literally everything. Like everything is taken to its absurd extreme. And extreme with like physical consequences.
Yeah.
Like being turned into a pigeon or being impregnated. She wanted to decide if she wanted to have a baby. So either her womb is going to be removed immediately or she is going to be impregnated immediately via baster. She decides to have a baby.
Oh, I need to see that one. That explains why she's breastfeeding in so many of her promo photos.
Yeah.
The next thing is Sean Spicer finally answers all of our Skype questions, which I loved. It's real Sean Spicer footage, otherwise known as the brother of the guy Gethard played tennis against at a True TV event. Spicer, while he was still press secretary, took online questions from people around the country. And so in this, they replaced the online questions with comedians, including Katie Hartman and Nori Davis, who appeared on TCGS's Night of Zero Laughs.
And Dylan Marin is also in this. Dylan Marin is the voice of Carlos on Welcome to Night Vale, if that is a podcast that you listen to. And he's also one of the regulars of Seriously TV. He's
and Nori
part of their
is
cast.
Also a frequent regular. I think was probably also one of the regular people there.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I'm not sure.
But
another thing that they did. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to move on. So you just did the segue. I
just did the segue. So Actual Bathroom User speaks up about trans bathroom laws, where she does one of those like beautiful political ads where she's like sipping tea and then like turns like from camera 1 to camera 2 and it like cuts to her just like looking at camera 2 talking about how she's the only type of women that Republicans seem to care about, women who pee-pee and poo-poo.
Well, white cisgendered women who pee-pee and poo-poo.
Apologies.
Sorry for those pops too. I loved that. I loved that video. I loved her outraged laughter that she does in it.
Oh, yeah.
Which I can't really even try to imitate, so you should see it for yourself. It's something to witness.
Yeah, something about there's so much in her performances that are micro. Like not micro, but it's all in her body and in her face.
Yeah,
like,
there's a real physicality to her manicness. It's not, she doesn't just get bigger. Like even the smaller, she can do that like big manic energy through small movements as well, which I
think Megan Stalter is the closest.
Oh yeah.
To her. And about like, really committing to a character. A time traveling reporter attends the inauguration of Donald Trump.
This was great.
It was just really good because she is just mostly commenting on things that don't exist in the future now. And there's a long part where she's like interviewing this pro-Trump guy about like what he thinks will happen with a Trump presidency, but mostly she just keeps interrupting him to ask for bites of his pizza because there isn't pizza in the future. And so you just get to see her cut this fucking dude off and just be hella fucking weird at these people.
And like seeing him.
It's the perfect trolling.
Yeah, because he never.
Like they never really understand. They're not really like sure if she's pulling their leg or not.
There's one guy who does, I think, understand. And he's the one who cuts off her interview and just walks off.
Yeah, he's like, we're done here.
We're done here. But also there's pop-up video details underneath it explaining all the things that have gone away from the future, such as that in the future, pastries are illegal. And in the future, dogs are rocks.
people are also shot at 50 years old.
So Judge Robin, the Trillaeff pug, will be a rock in the future, and I think he should start getting ready for that.
Yup.
We also have Trevor, the positive troll, who is a troll who used to, be mean to women on the internet, as trolls will do. And then I think he got hit in the head.
Yeah,
and
he
now,
almost died on the toilet.
Yeah, and so now he only does complimentary trolling, where he just very aggressively, out of the blue, compliments Neil
Artists.
Patrick Harris, Kylie Jenner, and more. And it's such great character work from Katie. She has like a Sharpied on facial hair and everything.
Like a neck beard.
Yeah.
Screams at her mom about dew. Like,
Yeah,
want
she's-
more dew.
She's
to drink.
doing the do the whole time with, I think, Code Red, which is the best gamer fuel.
Yeah.
Even better than Mountain Dew gamer fuel, I think.
One that really hit me.
Oh, this one was...
Whew, what we thought would be the end of misogyny. And this is all around fucking 2016. And
Yeah.
so it was kind of healing to see them now a little bit. So they had to, it's a song which includes Alex Song, who appeared on Talkadoodle Doo, and Nori Davis, who was also on TCGS's Night of Zero Laughs, where they're singing about, how now that Hillary's president, misogyny is dead, but, tongue in cheek, because misogyny isn't really dead. But of course, Hillary didn't win. So Katie introduces the video looking so sad.
Yeah, it took me back to those dark days, but it actually...
It validated me.
It validated me, but I think it also made the video better.
It did. And then it ends with her just sitting, and she's just like, so if you're masturbating to a liberal woman crying right now, comment below, subscribe.
Yeah, no, I liked the song, but I definitely think those intros and outros were key to the comedy. Not worth it to make that web video better, but yeah, it did.
Yeah, so she did a mixture of these sort of one-off videos for Seriously and whole series. So the next just individual video we loved was how to get wasted in secret this Thanksgiving.
This was so good.
Just her absurd, helpful tips on how to drink more without being judged.
Like one of them was to put, I think it was a bag of liquor into a baby's clothing, so
And
you
put a
can
straw.
drink your liquor and pretend you just really like babies.
Yep. Just really love babies, and then their shit will cover your turpentine breath. But then there's also What's Happening. And that is her series where she and Patty Harrison, this fucking amazing woman who also has a bunch of series like herself, like one where she reviews exotic animals. I went down a rabbit hole of her videos as well.
Patty Harrison's hilarious and is Party Harderson on most social media places.
So they review apps, like spooky apps that will tell you a spooky story, or plastic surgery apps that will help you do plastic surgery. And they together are just such an incredible firebomb of ridiculousness.
Yeah, no, I love that. Together, they're a wonderful team.
Yeah.
And
So
I would love if we get to see more of them working together potentially on this episode.
yeah, Patty Harrison for fucking CGP.
Yeah,
I would like to nominate Patty Harrison to do a CGP.
that would be so good.
Nominate.
Our third thing, we're up to 3, swear, at least in our document. Our third overarching category in our overview is Skinny Bitch Jesus Meeting, which is a comedy duo between Katie and Leah Rudick, who co-created Made to Order with Katie. And there's just a lot of different sketches, some pre-recorded, some live, and some you get to see both ways.
Yeah, there is a reel of them performing live, and in it, they do some of the characters and versions of the sketches that they then later filmed as full sketches, which was really fun because I feel like it's a taste of what we'll be getting with this episode.
Yeah, I like that. I think
You get
you're
to
right.
see how she fully brings it together. I would like to nominate It's Complicated
I really liked It's Complicated.
as the fucking amazingest. It's a scene to audition for the new Nancy Meyers movie. I don't know who Nancy Meyers is.
Nancy Meyers made the movie It's Complicated.
Okay.
With Alec Baldwin, Meryl Streep, and I think Steve Martin.
Well, it's like super intense boomer comedy.
Yeah, there's they feel that like I'm so fancy here with my wine of specific vintages.
Like, I might call you an S word.
So Nancy Meyers made The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan, What Women Want, Something's Gotta Give, The Holiday, It's Complicated, and The Intern, which is the movie where Robert De Niro interns for Anne Hathaway.
So everyone should watch that one because it makes me really happy. And there's a lot of physical comedy at the end as well. There's also another one that spans stage and screen, the International School for Acting in Reality Television with Dina Domino. And this sketch, which shows her, like, it's just it's an ad for one of those schools. And it has like students like saying how great she is, teaching them how to like be fucking nuts on reality television. But it's part of their show, The Underdeveloped and Overexposed Life and Death of Dina Domino. She started at 4 years old in the baby pageant reality show Crown That Sexy Baby. And you might remember her from such shows as Bitches in a House and America's Next Top Anorexic. There's also a Bitches in a House short that you can see on the YouTubes, and it's really good.
They performed the Underdeveloped and Overexposed Life and Death of Dina Domino at Fringe NYC. And there's a trailer for that live version on YouTube as well, where, I mean, I just want to see it. The tagline was reality TV just birthed a reality monster, which really sets the stage very well for this character.
What I love about watching these, I just love watching them take on different characters.
Yeah.
Like in the Bitches in a House video, Leah plays like the really nice girl who's never seen reality television before, like coming into this house trying to be nice. And it has like, 4 different confessionals, like showing how she turns into like a crazy fucking bitch. But just watching her like be that character and other characters. She's in Los Angeles now. Leah Rudick.
Oh, okay.
She left for Los Angeles, and Katie talked about it in a podcast. I'm pretty sure it's Women of Size. And about how she really liked working in comedy duos because she felt like that there was someone to lean on, and she had to sort of learn how to perform for herself. I have many questions for her about that. I need to re-listen to that podcast because I'm not sure how much attention I was paying in the car.
And they just both commit so hard that it's really cool to see that, because they both embody them to such a degree that you could easily think that they have like a certain group of stock characters that they're pulling from. But no, they just commit that hard to everything, which is great. And then they also did Drunk Girl Poetry, High Heels, which is a wonderful ode. Or wonderful drunk girl. Yeah, drunk girl gives an ode to her shoe. And the girl's played by Katie Hartman. And it's very moving. And I'll let you experience the artistry for yourself.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 drunk girl poetry shorts. And they're all amazing.
Number 4 is a video where Katie Hartman talks about teaching at the Pit, which is the People's Improv Theater. And it's really cool to see a performer who we're now fairly familiar with talk about their teaching strategy. Yeah. Because so many of the hosts are teachers. Like Carmen teaches, Christy teaches. Christy taught jazz's class, actually.
Oh, shit.
And then Tisher taught a class in San Francisco years ago. He came out to Endgame Improv and taught there. But we still don't get to see them in that teacher role so often. And I loved getting to see her talk about how she specifically tries to get her students out of their comfortable groove and to push themselves in their character choices.
Yeah, and she focuses on finding what they're most afraid of and then making that something funny. which I think is really beautiful. There's a lot of like words of wisdom that we're getting from her.
Yeah.
Like, even if I'm rejected, at least I committed.
Yeah.
You know, that's fucking beautiful. This whole like, find the thing that you're afraid of and make it funny. You know, beautiful shit. Beautiful shit.
And then the final thing we're going to talk about with Katie is the special without Brett Davis. She appeared on that show, as we said, on 2 episodes. One of them was as Mimi Cunningham.
Oh my God, it made me so happy because she's, the idea is that she's adopting a child, or she might be adopting a child. And the first thing she does is make sure that that child is not allergic to peanuts. She's very clearly has lost a child to an allergy, which struck a chord with me because I grew up in Marin with a lot of kids who were allergic to peanuts.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's like one of my friends growing up was allergic to peanuts.
I don't know
eggs.
why it was so funny. And then she like breastfeeds. She's super into breastfeeding.
No, like I mentioned it earlier, but if you go to her website,
It's her breastfeeding.
on her about page, yeah, there's like 4 photos of her breastfeeding a teddy bear.
Yeah.
And it has a whole narrative arc to those photos and is great. But yeah, it's definitely one of her comedic go-tos, which reminds me of something you talked about on an earlier episode where there's a lot of penis jokes and women don't get as many like taking the body as like a funny thing to work with.
And breastfeeding is so funny.
Yeah, no,
It's such a weird fucking thing. You can shoot milk at people from your nipples. Like, you can actually aim it
Yeah.
and shoot it at people. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's like it's an inherently like there is that inherent sort of funniness
Grossness
to
and
it, but we just don't
funniness.
get I don't know. Like
Visceral.
I love that she leans into that in a way that you don't always get to see.
Yeah.
Because comedy needs to get better.
Yeah. So now we're going to talk about Jon Bander.
Yes.
Jon Bander obviously has a way less of a presence online, but is doing stage shows all the fucking time. So if you're in New York, see them and tell us about them. But here's his bio, which we pulled off his website.
It's off his UCB performer page, which is Jon Bander is an actor and comedian living in New York. He is a Character 101 teacher and member of house team Characters Welcome at UCBT. He also taught and performs musical improv with Premiere, the improvised musical, and Warm Blooded at the Magnet Theater. Otherwise, he does character bits and stand-up at various NYC theaters, bars, and basements. Jon was selected to perform in the New Faces Characters Showcase at the 2015 Just for Laughs Festival in Montreal. He has also worked for the Second City Theatricals aboard the Norwegian Dawn cruise ship. That's a cruise I'd like to go on. But also cruise ships.
Cruise ships.
He has firsthand experience. Jon has also performed and taught workshops at festivals and cities around the country. He's been fortunate to study with improv luminaries like T.J. Jagodowski, David Pasquisi, Armando Diaz, Mick Napier, and Susan Messing, to name a few. Outside of improv, Jon has appeared on TBS's Search Party and the Netflix shows Master of None, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, and The Characters.
We watched 2 of those shows. I don't
I watched
remember
all
him
3.
in them. I want to see him.
He also performed off Broadway in Pharma Bro, an American douchical, 8 million protagonists, Pope, an epic musical, and NY Fringe Fest hit musical Nightfall on Moronga Island. Most people just call him Bander. Feel free to do the same.
I want to see him do singing things. That's like his thing.
I like that Pharma Bro and American douchical, partially because it also calls back to Mary Houlihan interviewing Martin Shkreli.
Oh, yeah.
And I just love that we now have 2 CGP hosts who have explicitly made fun of him. Deservedly so.
Oh, yeah. So the 7 things that we have from him are all from...
We also have more than 7 on him.
We have more than 7 on him.
Yeah.
They're primarily from his characters that he performed live for people as part of Characters Welcome at UCB. So each of these is like a monologue, him on a stage, sometimes with some props and costuming, just kind of monologuing the way that Christy Cello does.
Yeah.
That really reminded me of Christy Cello, her opening, how she loves writing in monologues where she's like talking to someone.
That's a really good comparison. I
Yeah.
hadn't thought about that. But yeah, it is really Christy Cello-esque. And you don't get to see that. And that's not a format you see much when you just go to improv shows, at least here. So it's very cool. I love that format.
You also don't see it at stand-up shows. And
No.
I think that it would work at a stand-up show.
Yeah, I think so.
depending on the thing. Like Christie's whole "who would you eat" would absolutely work at it. Well, I say this and then I'm like, it would work on me.
Well, it would have worked in the Cynic Cave, which is a departed alt comedy venue in San Francisco. So I think you would just have to pick an alt-tier friendly venue because
That's for Cynic Cave.
at least for the eating your family one. Both the Christie and the Robbie Hoffman questions require a certain altiness for people to appreciate them.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate those jokes.
So the first one that we loved is POV. Your okay looking friend just told you that they do orgies. This one made me happy because I used to record and syndicate live real sex stories to the world. And they talked a lot about orgies and how ugly people go to orgies too and do them. And it was amazing. Okay, so it's just this monologue about how it's bewildering to you that someone who looks like John can make it into orgies. And he makes observations like orgies are a bunch of 5s and 1 9 who is never coming back.
And he has an inspirational self-help guidance in it as well. Like, all it takes to be an orgy person is will. And I like that, that's motivating, that's moving. Like, you can achieve your dreams if you just put your mind to it.
He does a physical gag with a coffee cup where he pours that and there's an apple in it and he takes a bite of, it's peach.
Peach, because he could eat a peach for hours, just like Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. And that reminded me of other coffee cup gags that I have seen, like Riley.
From the TCGS, look back retrospective panel.
He had a cup with a bunch of batteries in it because it's his energy drink.
And he did like the swirling it around like it was they were ice cubes. He drank from it and just didn't say anything until someone asked him about it. And the cup was transparent, so you could see the batteries.
It was amazing.
Another place where you can see Jon Bander is on Who You Were. Jon appeared on Who You Were, which is hosted by TCGS's Patrick Noth and Sebastian Kennelly, who played Rascal the Rooster in Talk-a-Doodle-Doo. And it was actually this podcast where the idea for Talk-a-Doodle-Doo was born. When Connor appeared on it, the idea of a talk show hosted by a talking rooster came up, and on the CGP podcast, Connor said that was the birth of Talk-a-Doodle-Doo. Yeah,
it's a really good podcast. It's really fun once you know the people that he's talking to, and they talk to a lot of the CGP hosts. Yeah. It's a really lovely way to get insight sort of into who they are as performers and how they've grown as artists and what their influences are.
And it seems like it's coming out in a new season, so definitely check it out, because I would not be surprised if we see more future CGP hosts on there.
Yeah.
I loved this next one, which was Dracula reveals the truth about the Monster Mash.
It was a smash.
That's part of the problem.
Graveyard smash.
So Joe Bander is Dracula, and
Joe Bander.
I say Joe Bander? I'm so sorry, Jon. Jon Bander.
You could just call him Bander.
So Bander plays Count Dracula, and he is suing Bobby Pickett, the creator of the Monster Mash, and he can cite lyrical evidence about how Pickett wronged him.
He was sleeping all night like a loser.
That's how upset he was about the fact that the Monster Mash is a shameless ripoff of the Transylvania twist.
It even made fun of his son.
Yeah. Because Dracula
and his son.
So check it out. It's a great one. It's one of my favorites, honestly, just because it really captures his absurdity.
My favorite's the next one.
This one is also great.
The Rock was my high school bully. He's Dave Jabroni, and he talks about how The Rock bullied him mercilessly, and it goes in and out of, you can't really tell how much in character he was. He was always in character, but on occasion it was no, you really think that The Rock wasn't a bully?
Honestly,
and I was sitting there, I'm like, oh shit, The Rock was totally a bully.
Yeah, no, The Rock was absolutely a bully, and I hadn't thought about it before.
Right.
But The Rock definitely bullied people.
And it's an example of the absurdism in self-deprecation, because even though he's angry, he's addressing his high school class at their reunion about The Rock. The Rock enters and he mimes talking to The Rock, and it's very absurd and very low status characters. You know?
and I it's just so good, and you can see him play another low status character in the next thing. Kid does science project on whether he's fat. A husky boy who uses a scientific method to determine whether or not he's fat or merely husky or large.
He does experiments asking his mom, asking his dad, asking the doctor. It's really great. There was a comment on it from Nicole Miller. I'm laughing, but I feel for this full-grown man pretending to be an obese child trying his best.
As a husky boy myself, it's definitely relatable content. I love it so much. And then the next thing is, I'm calling it a folksy lawyer defends Martin Urbano. He doesn't name his client, but his client is a pedophile.
He's a simple Southern lawyer, finds himself defending a terrible client. For example, Would you sue a river for running? And if two boys were just playing in that river and the river just went a little too hard and knocked their clothes off, would you sue that river for molesting those boys?
And so as you can see from that, the joke that Emily just quoted.
Not very well.
No, but the what's impressive is just how hard he commits to this bit. Like,
and he doesn't overplay it too.
No. It would be so easy. It would have been very easy to just go way too far on it. And he doesn't. He keeps it he keeps it on a good side of not getting too graphic or anything. It's very just the absurdity of his lawyer character having to defend someone that he believes is awful. Like, his character knows that he is in a bad position, which I think helps.
But the way that he uses metaphors
to
explain what's happening is absolutely hilarious. Like, it doesn't give it away like too much. It's so good. It's so good.
The next thing is
something I related to.
Yes.
Because I am a praying mantis.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, so this is praying mantis, Dad. He's just a praying mantis, and he wears socks over his hands because that's what praying mantises do. And he talks to his son about mating, and he just talks about like the biologically accurate, well, not really biologically accurate. Praying mantis women do not typically bite the heads off of praying mantis males who are impregnating them.
Oh.
They did that when they were under observation because they were super fucking stressed out.
Huh.
They were under all these bright lights with these fucking scientists prodding at them, and they were freaking the fuck out. So they fucking killed the guy.
I'm glad we have you here to actually set the record straight on science, because I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I had heard that.
Not typical.
That's good to know.
Sometimes they eat the men just because they're hungry, though.
Well, I mean, they're not themselves when they're hungry, and they don't have the ability to grab a Snickers. So they had to eat the husband, or not the husband, the mate. They don't necessarily have marriage ceremonies as praying mantises. Maybe they do they?
They pray.
Well, that's true.
We know this.
They're very pious insects.
They're quite pious. But it's really funny. It's just these great monologues. Like, it feels almost like Douglas Adams-y.
Yeah. And I love seeing him as a dad, which is why I also loved the next thing where a father talks to his son about porn. And Bandar's character is the guy who makes ads for porn sites.
And this is a totally different character, I feel like, than the other ones. He's very, he says at one point, like, it shouldn't surprise anyone that I'm a libertarian. And like, it was just like that's his character. Like, he's that guy, that like libertarian guy, like sitting with a beer. He's like, yeah, I drink in front of my kid. Like, it's cool. I make the ads for porn.
And he explains the rationale behind why they're so weird, which I think we should leave for the video because it comes pretty late in it.
So good.
And it's just so good. He's so good at playing the father in these absurd situations. But like as you said, two distinct.
Do you think he's a father? Do you think he's a dad?
He plays it so well, maybe.
Do you think he's like Connor Ratliff, who like should be a dad but isn't? Not to like put shoulds on
I'm just going to say I don't know, because I don't dig into that part of their lives. We're talking about their...
we listen to 12-Hour Day.
Well, not for Connor. For Connor, it's different. But that's just because he talked about it on his podcast. But I don't know
that Sky Daddy is a dad.
Well, that's because Sebastian called in on Coochie Creek and
was on Sandwich Night.
Pizza Night. Was he on
Pizza Night. Sorry, Pizza Night.
But I love it. That one is absolutely worth checking out and will be in the show notes, as will the next thing where he takes on the other side of the parent-child dynamic and plays two brothers who...
Well, one brother.
Plays one of the brothers and
talking to his baby brother.
Implies his baby brother's existence through conversations.
He's speaking to his baby brother, explaining all these things.
I mean, it's monologue. Sorry, that's a better way of saying it. It's a kid who didn't study because he thought it would snow and decides he's going to call his mom and try to trick her into thinking it's a snow day.
And he finds out a lot of things about his mom.
Yes, and gradually escalates who he's calling as through the video in a really nice progression, which, as you said, reveals certain things about the mom.
The next one is excellent because It's about this episode. It is cruise ship morgue attendant. He does a monologue as a cruise ship morgue attendant.
I never dreamed that we would have something that's like this much of a germ of the idea.
He's like just this perfect like creepy motherfucker who's like hitting on like 21-year-old woman. Like he implies that the girl that he's brought down is like very much younger than him, and like he's kind of like this creepy old guy like hitting on women on this boat,
and who brings them down to the morgue to impress them as part of flirting with them.
Like, look at all these dead bodies, and she's like, no, done.
Yeah, and there's
Clearly.
great puns throughout it, and there's quotes like, "Oh, this is Claire. She challenged another old passenger to a game of Rascal Chicken." And like I think that's a similar type of absurdity to what we were talking about earlier with Katie. And I think that's part of why they're such a great team.
They play with visceral grossness.
Yeah.
Body horror.
Yeah.
Really committing to character. I think that their commitment to character and the absurdity that they introduce into all of their characters. Because all of these characters like have an absurd element to them. It's not just like a folksy lawyer saying something funny. It's like he's defending like a really fucking weird ass pedophile. Like
they have that
Dracula, a fucking praying mantis. The Rock was my high school bully. Like he introduces a really absurd element. It's not just like, because you could do a really good character and keep everything within the realm of the reality of the world that we live in. But he consistently, the way that Katie does, explodes things in a way.
There's also a dark sort of underbelly to a lot of their characters. Like, I mean, honestly, even Dave Jabroni, because the idea of your high school bully being one of the most loved men in the world, and like it talks about it, the bit deals with that, in fun ways. Like I feel like often on this pod we've been saying there's like a darkness to underlying a lot of the absurdity, and I think it's interesting that that's been so the case with so many CGP hosts.
Yeah.
Because it
reminds me of The Special.
That's what I was going to say. It feels like it's something that the special really contributed to the time slot. And I love that CGP, as much as it feels like it's building in part on the legacy of the Gethard show, it also is incorporating the legacy of the special in some like really profound ways in terms of the comedic tone. And I love that. I love that.
It's something you see in National Lampoon Radio Hour as well.
Oh yeah, that's true. Which also has so many special people.
Yeah. There's the 11th thing that we love from him is an animated story, Barely Legal. It's from 2012 and it's a story, just like a wonderful storytelling-esque story. I used to fucking syndicate stories, and so I've listened to so many storytellers tell stories, so much to the point that I literally have not listened to any storytelling for the past 4 years. Like I was just so burnt out on them. And so I like started this video and like, you get the intonation of like, so I was doing this thing, and I'm like, oh, it's like slipping into a warm bath. Like he's such a good storyteller.
And so the story is told by Bandar and is animated by artist Eve Weinberg. And the animation is so cool.
He talks about wearing a bear head around New York for a day, in how that was for him.
And this was from a show called Animated Stories, which was a live storytelling show where audience members told their true stories, and the best story of the night got animated and posted to YouTube, and Jon won that night.
That's such a beautiful idea.
I love it. I always love that sort of cross-form cooperation, and comedy is such a good venue for that.
Right? Yeah. The next thing is different from his normal like monologue deal, and so I really wanted to include it. It's 1000 Scenes, number 40, Jon Bander. This was from 2015. And this is from an individual, Morgan Phillips. Morgan Phillips had like this challenge where he was going to do 1000 improv scenes based on a suggestion with other people.
He ended
just
up
like
doing 1006.
Damn. Mostly via Skype. Like it's just like the
Google
two
Hangout
faces.
Video.
And they improvise a scene together based on the prompt interpretation. and Jon plays like a really nice girl, just like trying to make it work.
Yeah.
And Morgan plays like the biggest douchebag in the world. Like he just thinks he's like really better than everyone and like really smarter than everyone when they went to go see The Expendables.
Yeah. If you've ever been talked down to because you liked a movie and someone who, like me, went to film school told you were wrong for your opinion, you'll relate to this. I went to film school, so I was told that sometimes.
Yeah, no, I've definitely tried to flirt with people by telling them that their opinions in movies suck and then berating them for not having a reason for liking the movies that they like. Which is why we're such a good couple. I didn't do this to you.
No, I wasn't sure if you were jokingly saying that you'd done
I've
that.
actually done that. I had to like learn what a dick move that was. I was younger. I was like, yeah, that didn't work the way that I thought that it would. I mean, they were a boring person anyways, but still, like, it's not nice to put people through that just because you like think they might be boring.
No, it's really not. Speaking of things that aren't nice to put people through, in our final Jon Bander clip, it's A Very Velvet Mommy Thanksgiving.
This is from 2019, this past November, and it is a full play.
Yeah, where a bunch of people, our family is sitting at a Thanksgiving table and one by one tells a story of some type.
And his comes at around the 9-minute mark if you like just want to watch his monologue. We didn't watch the whole play. We watched a couple of the monologues.
And Woody Fu is also on it.
Yeah,
he played
the pigeon, the indoor pigeon.
Yeah.
He's the indoor pigeon, and he plays a person who's in love with his bass, and his bass has big googly eyes on it. He's like acclaimed jazz musician.
They're like the plate-sized googly eyes, those giant, nice ones.
It's right after Jon Bander's. Watch Bander's, and then watch Ziggy's. Ziggy?
Woody
Is that his
Fu.
name? Woody Fu. What the fuck? Oh, it's Uncle Zig.
Uncle Zig is Bander's
Bander
character.
plays Uncle Zig. Woody Fu plays guy who is acclaimed jazz. Oh my God, it's so good.
So yeah, Jon Bander plays Uncle Zig, who wrote the book My Pet Goat, which students of history will know is the book that George W. Bush was reading on 9/11. And it is all about his new book coming out after that experience, and it's so good.
It's so it's definitely not about 9/11. This new book is not about 9/11 at all. It's not about 9/11. It's not about how we shouldn't associate nice, friendly things with a tragedy just because they happened at the same time.
No, there's no subtext to his new book at all. It's just a story about some nice animals who can talk. That's all it's about.
Yep. So yeah, those are the amazing things that we got from Katie Hartman and Jon Bander.
Oh, also, a number of commenters all shouted out specifically how much they loved Bander's character in that video. So
it really was a standout.
He was great. And again, the darkness underlying the absurdity is right there.
Oh, hey, we have a visitor. Ha-ha.
Ha-ha, he came up. Good.
Ha-ha. I like put him on the table earlier to be like, hey, perform for us. And he just got down.
Yeah, so if you're listening and want to see the cat, you got to come to the Twitch streams.
Yeah, sometimes
He's the
there's a cat.
on
He's
the stick.
literally mugging right now to the camera. Like he is facing the camera, looking up at himself. This is ridiculous. This cat is amazing. His name is Gatsby, and he...
Much like Richie Owens' orange cat.
Yeah. Richie Owens, who performed with Megan Stalter, has a fucking orange cat that looks like Gatsby, named Gatsby. They're twin cats. I think they're twin cats.
I think they're definitely twin cats. And
like, look at him. So cute. He's like peeking out from above our thing. So everyone listening, get your ass to the Twitch stream so that you can see our cat. He's the best part of everything. He was threatened by a masked man on
Sandwich night.
And apparently he's just way better than anything that Katie Hartman and Jon Bander can do. No.
I'm not going to say that.
No, I won't say that because you all seriously, I'm so excited for this episode. I think we've talked a lot about how their styles complement each other and how it's really cool that we're seeing people who are they do improv. Like, they do a lot of improv, but most of the stuff that we've seen put out from them are sketches.
Yeah.
Are them as characters.
It's also interesting because this is one of the few times I can remember where we've seen the two partners who are clearly going to be so perfect together, but we haven't seen them perform together. It's not like with Richie Owens and Megan Stalter where there was that video that they did together. Mm-hmm. And so it's interesting it's interesting to see that. I can't wait to finally see them collaborate this Wednesday on CGP on Cruise Ship Morgue.
Cruise Ship Morgue. Check it out. Hang out with us in the Discord. I don't know how you're listening to this if you're not already in the Discord.
I mean, we do put it out on iTunes, so there could be someone who just stumbled upon it. And if you did, hello, join Planet Scum, please.
And you can watch on Twitch to see our cat. I'm Emily Pineapple.
And I'm Forrest, the keeper of the Canon. Did we not say that at the top, or did we?
I'm not sure.
I think we did.
But you know who you really do need to remember and know?
Katie Hartman.
Katie Hartman.
And Jon Bander.
Bander. So thank you all so much for joining us on this adventure, on this Twitch stream, in addition to recording the podcast adventure. I want all of you to be encouraged to make your own fucking Twitch streams with CGP related content. And we will fill out this channel with stuff celebrating this really awesome art that we are getting to see. Come up with cool ideas, pitch them to Uncle B. Uncle B, I'm putting you on the line for listening to all of these people's strange ideas.
I used my copious inheritance to dip myself in gold.
It's covered in gold.
Not precious, I'm priceless. Hello.